Hello everyone, welcome to the Geoecologist. I am Dr. Krishnanand, and in this session we are going to begin with the concept of universe. So we are going to learn about various theories and concepts related to the origin of universe, and right from the universe the journey towards making of the solar system and the planets. So let's learn, but before we go ahead, please like and subscribe to our channel and don't forget to press the bell icon for the updates. So let's learn about the basics of our universe. So the first thing is, what does this word itself mean? What is the etymology of this word universe? So there are two things in this one word. One is the uni, which basically means singularity. So it is singular or unique or single. So that is one part. The other part is the verse. That is basically talking about the being, the concept of existence. So that is what we say is that something that exists in singularity, in a totality. So this is a concept which says that the totality of our existence. So that is what we study in the concept of our universe. So let's look further and see that what is the theory of its formation, what do we have as components of this universe. So what we observe is that almost all the theories of development of universe are based on astronomical observation, that is called redshift. So the question arises that what is redshift? So let's understand this concept of redshift in the universe. So it's basically that if the star is moving towards the observer, suppose this is the star and this is the observer, and this is the movement that is towards the observer, then the light is shifted to the blue end of the spectrum. It means for the observer, this star will look blue. So if we see that blue color in the sky in terms of star, it basically means that it is approaching towards the observer, towards us. But if it is shifted towards the red end, it means that it is going away from the observer. So then if it is going away from the observer, the color becomes red. So when we see red or blue color in the sky in terms of star, now we can understand that what is this, and this is called redshift, and this is also known as Doppler effect. So remember, this redshift is known as Doppler effect on the name of the scientist who discovered this phenomena, and that is called Doppler effect. So now let's understand the concept of galaxies that form the premier part or the basic component of the universe. So now let's understand the concept of galaxies. So first of all, how do they look? What is their shape? What is their morphology? So spiral, elliptical and irregular are the three different types of galaxical forms. So what is spiral? It looks like this. And what is elliptical? In the form of ellipse. So this is what we say as elliptical, like our orbits, and irregular is like any shape which is not geometrical or defined. So that is what we say are the major three forms of known galaxies that we have. For example, if you look at Milky Way, that is our galaxy, and Andromeda, that is important. So these are spiral galaxies. If we see Milky Way and Andromeda, these galaxies look like spiral. The name Milky Way is due to bright band of light that runs throughout it, and it looks milky bright. That's why it is called Milky Way. So remember, Milky Way is not just single. It is a family of 24 galaxies that are together called the local group. So it basically means that Milky Way is one of the group members of that 24 galaxy system, which is called local group. So recently there was an experiment that has been called Large Hadron Collider. So LHC has been there in the news. The Large Hadron Collider is located at CERN, that is CERN, the European Organization for Nuclear Research near Geneva, that is in Switzerland. So it consists of 27-kilometer ring of superconducting magnets accelerating structures to boost the energy of particles. But why is it important? It is important to understand the larger concepts of the universe, its formation, how these particles behave. So to study that, this LHC has been created. So now let's understand that what do we have as an information. So it revealed that Big Bang was not the initial point of universe, but one among many incidents then. So remember, as we understand that Big Bang theory is the beginning point of all origins of matter and energy that we see, right? All space and time definition that we see, the unity from where with the Big Bang it all exploded, it was not a singular phenomena. Now it is being speculated that there were several Big Bangs, right? So that is important, and that has come from the study of LHC. Universe was not formed at 15 billion years from now, but exist much before that. So the theories have been now changing after the studies being done on LHC. But still the most validated concept is that our age of universe is about 15 billion years from now. So now let's look further that what is the distance of galactic nucleus from the sun. So if we say that galactic nucleus in the Milky Way is somewhere here, and if we are located here in our solar system, so what is that distance? So remember, from the galactic nucleus our sun is about 32,000 light years. So we are not in the center of or the nucleus of our own galaxy. So what is the density of our galaxy then? So this also has been estimated. It is of the order of 1,000,000 stars per cubic parsec. So star closest to our sun is Proxima Centauri. So this is another information that is important. And when we talk about million stars per cubic parsec, we remember that there is this astronomical unit that is important. So what is this light year? Let's understand from the basics. So a light year is basically a distance that traveled by light in 1 year. So what is that? So it is nearly 6 million miles, that is about 9.4607 into 10 to the power 12 kilometers. That is the distance traveled by light in 1 year. So that is called 1 light year. So what is 1 parsec then? So which we looked in the earlier slide. So that was basically 3.26 light year. So 1 parsec is 3.26 light year. Now let's talk about the theories of evolution. So how did we evolve? How did this universe evolve? What are the theories behind it? So the first theory is called Big Bang theory, the most famous, the most accepted, but it's not the only theory. Remember, there are more theories. So what are those? The first theory apart from Big Bang is the nebular hypothesis. That is the origin from the nebula. Then we have tidal hypothesis, and then we have protoplanet hypothesis. So what are these hypotheses? What are these theories? Let's understand. So the first concept we already know, that what is a Big Bang. So it is basically that Big Bang model talks about the explosion from a dense primordial matter, a pre-existing matter which is still being figured out. So this was a big explosion from the unity that we see here in this image as well. So from this unity there was an explosion where material in various directions went away from each other. So this is what we see here is as Big Bang. But what happened further? Universe was an extremely hot and dense one. And further we see universe subsequently expanded and gradually cooled down. So this is basic aspect of this Big Bang model. So when we say Big Bang model, remember that universe was coming out from a primordial matter which was extremely dense and hot, and after that gradually when it exploded and went away, it also started cooling down, and that's how the galaxies, the solar system, the sun, the planets and other components of the solar system and the universe were formed. Now let's understand that what is a nebula. So if we look at this particular image, so what we see here is that a nebula is a giant cloud of dust and gas in space. As we see in this image, we can observe that it looks very similar to what we see here. That is a giant formation of gaseous substance or the giant cloud of dust that is in the space. So what is solar nebula then? So it is basically the disc-shaped cloud of gas. So suppose if this is a random image, if it would have been in a shape of a disc, this kind of gaseous component, then that could have been called a solar nebula. So it is basically a disc-shaped cloud of gas, and dust left over from the sun's formation. So when the sun was formed, the leftover that we see in this form is called the solar nebula. So now let's look further and understand that who were the scientists who gave this concept. So the name of the scientists are Emanuel Swedenborg, Immanuel Kant, Pierre-Simon Laplace. So remember the names of these scientists who talked about this nebular hypothesis. Basically, the concept of the formation of the entire system that we study, right from the sun to the planets and other components, that is from the nebular hypothesis. So it talks about the formation and evolution of our solar system, which is widely accepted model. So earlier it was a dense cloud, and then gradually it cooled down, and right from the sun in the center and its different planets in the periphery. So something of a cloud, and when it finally condensed, that formed the entire solar system. So it suggests that solar system is formed from the solar nebula, the dust, the gaseous material, the large huge cloud that we study. The next important point is the tidal hypothesis. So this was put forth by Jenny and Jeffries. So it assumes the presence of two nebula instead of one. So that was interesting, that Laplace in his theory suggested that only one nebula was there. So we have one family of solar system emerging from that. But in tidal hypothesis, what we find is the existence of two nebula by Jenny and Jeffrey. So they suggest that there was a tidal movement. So what kind of tidal movement? So if you observe here, what is there? This is A and this is B. And this is what we say is the tidal movement. So let's explain this, that this particular wave that we observe here, that is the matter rising in the form of a tidal wave from the smaller nebula was pulled towards the larger nebula. So the concept of gravity, as we know, remember? So if there are two nebulas and one is more dense, one is more big, and one is the smaller one, so there was this movement of the matter between these two, and when this matter condensed, that formed the solar system that is there in the existence right now. So the solar system, according to this tidal hypothesis, formed from the concept of the movement of material between the two different giant nebulas, right? So of which one was smaller and one was larger. So because of this gravity effect, there was a tidal wave of that matter between these two. So that tidal wave created this particular matter when they condensed. So that is what we observe here as the solar system. So what we see is that this hypothesis further seems that it is more close to the reality of our solar system. The next important hypothesis is the protoplanet hypothesis given by G.P. Kuiper. So let's understand this hypothesis as well. When we say that there was a protoplanet, it basically means there was an ancient planet from which material further condensed, and then gradually other planets were formed. So what is a protoplanet? The protoplanet is a large planetary embryo that originated within a protoplanetary disk. So what is this protoplanetary disk? Just look at this particular disk around this protoplanet. So what happened? Gradually, when this cloud of all those gases and dust particles further condensed, so in the center a protoplanet was there, and around it there was a protoplanetary disk, and gradually when this protoplanetary disk further cooled down, it condensed, so other planets around this main center, that was the sun, further occupied the solar system. So it has undergone internal melting to produce differentiated interiors of this entire solar system. So it is suggested that rather than the rings, big chunks of gas were left behind according to this particular hypothesis given by G.P. Kuiper. So still what we observe as the Kuiper belt is the outer belt of this solar system. Remember, that is called Kuiper belt, which is very cool, which is the coldest region of the solar system. So the center of the solar system to the Kuiper belt. So this is the entire structure explained through this protoplanet hypothesis. Now let's look further related to the concept of types of planets. So there are two different types of planets that we classify. One is called Jovian planets, the other is called terrestrial planets. So what is this Jovian and what is this terrestrial? Let's understand. So the word Jovian is related to Roman god Jove, that is Jupiter. So when we say Jovian planets, it basically means planets that are similar to the characteristics of Jupiter, that is Jupiter-like planets. And when we say terrestrial planets, automatically the word is terra, that is reflection of the Earth. So the planets that are very similar to the characteristics of the Earth. So basically we divide all the planets into two categories, one which are largely Jupiter-like planets and one which are called terrestrial planets. So what are those? The Jovian planets are the Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus and Neptune. So what we see here is that Jupiter, apart from Jupiter itself, Saturn, Uranus and Neptune are also similar in characteristic of the Jupiter. So that's why they are called Jovian planets. Further, if we look into the terrestrial planets, the Earth itself, and apart from Earth, Mercury, Venus and Mars, they have similar characteristics to that of the Earth. So they have been categorized as the terrestrial planet. So there is a code system, if you can remember. What is that? Let's look at that. So this is called Sun-J. If you remember Sun-J, that is S-U-N-J. Sun-J is basically the jovial planet code. What is that? You see here Saturn, Uranus, Neptune and Jupiter. So Sun and J. So that is Jovian planet. But if you want to remember Earth, Mercury, Venus and Mars, remember electronic voting machine, that is EVM and then another M. So EVM-M. Okay. So this is related to the terrestrial planet. And now basic line of difference between these two, that Jovian planets do not have solid surfaces. They are largely in gaseous state. So that is the major line of difference. There is no solidification in the Jovian planets. So what we observe further is that Earth is the densest, largest and most massive of the four terrestrial planets, not of the entire solar system. Remember, out of these four, Earth is most dense, large and also massive. So that is important in terms of the terrestrial planets and Earth's characteristic. Now few more concepts that we need to understand, that is, what is IAU? Have you heard this IAU before? International Astronomical Union, which was founded in 1919. So it is the international body of astronomers having more than 13,000 members worldwide, and its mission is to promote and safeguard the science of astronomy. So you should remember when we are talking about Earth, outer space, universe, so that's why it is important. Now related to IAU is one of the important things that we must understand. So do you remember him? So he is our own Pandit Jasraj. And how is he linked to IAU? So you would be surprised to know that IAU is an astronomical organization, but he is our eminent vocalist. So what does he have to do with IAU? Remember that IAU named a minor planet that in 2006, that is VP32, which was discovered in 2006 on the name of this great vocalist. So Pandit Jasraj is name of a minor planet that was discovered in 2006 between the orbits of Mars and Jupiter. So this is important to remember, as he is the first Indian musician to join the galaxy of immortal composers. So what is this idea of naming these planets on the names of these great personalities? So that their names are immortalized. So that is the basic idea. So before Pandit Jasraj, Mozart, Beethoven and Pavarotti, so they were also named, so they were also credited with certain names of different planets and stars. So similarly, Pandit Jasraj has also been given this honor by IAU. So now, when we have learnt about the concept of origin of universe and the theories and concepts related to it, in the lectures to come, we'll be talking about the concept of solar system and also the various concepts related to our own planet, that is the planet Earth. So stay safe, stay tuned, all my best wishes.